If something happened that made somebody else upset, even if it's not your fault, even if the other person is overreacting, even if they misinterpreted what you did or said, if they're being ridiculous or their feelings are unwarranted, fix it. Welcome back to the Obvious Choice Podcast. I'm here with Ren, with Amber. Continuing on talking about rules, this idea of structure breeds freedom and how constraints are actually very, very useful. And it's very, very useful to have rules to help organize us. And so for the first time ever, what I did is I actually wrote out a list of my rules. A lot of these are things I've spoken about before, things that I have been wanting to do for a very, very long time. Some of them I do regularly, other ones are more aspirational. But in having them written out now, the benefit is that I can refer back to them and be reminded of them. And I've already found, since I've done this in the last few weeks, I've been able to remind myself of the person that I want to be more often when it comes to work or with family or whatever. For example, one of my rules that I'll get to a little bit later on is leave the phone at the door. Basically, your phone doesn't enter your house. There's a charger at the door, and when you walk in, you plug in your phone, you put a chair by the door, and if you want to use your phone, you can use it, but you use it at the door. It doesn't enter in the house. And last night I got home, and I, of course, ignored that rule and brought the phone in the house. And I was kind of with Jaden and hanging out, and we were having a good time. And then I was like, well, this is stupid. Why am I on my phone? And so I went and I plugged it into the charger at the door. Simple things, little things like that. When you look down for an extended period of time, it's basically just an advertisement of Nike. I feel like what we need to do is, Amber, can we get Ren a quick coach hat?
Oh, yeah.
And then just...
They have those?
No, but we can make one.
Oh. Well,
but then
I feel like he needs to be the voice for Quincy.
I mean, that was the original idea. Like, that was actually the original idea.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I get fired before I get hired sometimes. And I'm proud of that.
I mean, hey, you quit your previous job. As a coach in the Online Trainer Academy. For the first time ever, you quit a job for me before I could fire you.
Before you got to fire me, yeah. I was like, man, I want to help these people. And Amber was like, well, why don't you get the hell out of here then, buddy? I think she said bucko.
You're 1 in 6 now. You're 1 in 6.
Right.
1 in 6 quitting to getting fired.
But you hung in there for like 5 years, though. It was a long time.
I did a stretch, man. Like, I did a stretch. 2020 itself was like 5 years. So you add 5 to the 5 that I did because holy crap.
Right.
Educated a nation in 2020. 2 nations.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the first batch of rules that I went over were under the category of bad habits start in the home. This batch of rules is people you love. So rules to basically do more and be more to the people that you love.
That's why you got the hearts behind you. I get it.
Totally planned it that way.
Yes. Totally planned it that way and not planned being in this hotel room that I did not anticipate being in for the foreseeable future.
Sheesh.
No, as an office. I didn't get kicked out of my house.
Okay.
So like, did Allison kick you out?
No.
What'd you do?
Dude, nothing like that. And the reason for this is that sometimes we show the least amount of love to the people who we love the most. When everything at home appears to be in harmony, you'll be lured into neglecting your commitment to your most important relationships. Then by the time serious problems arise, it's often too late. And so the time to invest in building strong families and close friendships is when it appears at the surface that it is not necessary. And so what I did is I wrote out a whole bunch of rules to help me be less passive with the people that I love. The first one is called buy 2 extra tickets. It's pretty simple. Anytime you plan to see a show or a movie, buy an extra pair of tickets. It forces you to invite others. There's a few examples. We bought 4 annual theater tickets. My wife took Calvin and 2 neighbor boys to see Lion King. We went on a double date with my parents to see Life of Pi. And then Allison had ladies' night with her mom and 2 others at Moulin Rouge. Depending on your situation, 1 extra ticket works too. Jason Pfeiffer is a music fan. When he moved to New York City as a single guy who didn't know many people, he kept buying 2 tickets to shows. He said it forced me to find someone. Who wrote me in a text? This has been pretty phenomenally life-changing for me in the last couple of years. Anytime I'm going to see a ball game or a concert, a comedy show, like we went to see Chappelle, for example, we just bought 4 tickets. When my friend got a box for Green Day, he's like, hey, you want to come? I was like, yeah, I'll take 4 tickets. And what it does is it forces you to, think of somebody in your life that would also love that thing. And then invite them. And what it also does, and here's, I think, what I like about it so much, is if you want to spend time with somebody, often what happens, of course, is you're like, oh, do you want to hang out? They're like, sure, when? Oh, I don't know. When do you think? Oh, I'm available Saturday. Oh, which Saturday? Oh, that Saturday. Oh, that's not the Saturday I'm available for. And then you finally find a time that works for both of you. Oh, so what do you want to do? Oh, I want to do Italian food. Yeah, I'm trying to hold off of gluten. Okay, what? And by that time, you're like, I don't even want to see your stupid face. What this allows you to do is eliminate all of that and just say, Tuesday, September 14th at 8 p.m., I have 2 extra tickets to go see Dave Chappelle. Can you make it? And they'll either say yes or no. Simple as that.
Adults are terrible at play dates. You almost have to have children to get together with adult friends. Like, you've both got to go off into your corners and procreate to get back together ever again in life after 30.
It's true, isn't it?
It's like, it's kind of true.
I found that there are certain people whose lives seem to be on the same schedule. Well, it works really well. Like, we have certain neighbors, for example, who we get together with all the time. And then we have other neighbors who, even if we like them more, or the kids are closer in age or whatever, or if they live closer, we just hardly see them. They're just, for whatever reason, the pattern of their life is different than ours. I found that makes a big difference. You know, if you think about, like, there's only so many people, like 1, maybe 2 people that you have the time to go out of your way to go see. And so those people, it's very important to go out of your way to go see them and to not be passive with that. But everybody else, it's like, when it's convenient, you see them. What I like about this is that, yes, of course, we take those people and ask them to join us sometimes, but it's a really easy way to think about people that we might not otherwise spend, like, intimate time with. And it's a very easy ask. It's a very easy yes or no for them. And an excuse to kind of go out of your way to do something. Okay. Count to 10 is my next one. It's pretty simple. It's almost never as big of a deal as it feels like it is in the moment. So calm the hell down. Do that thing that they teach kids where you pretend that you're holding a cup of hot chocolate and need to cool it down by blowing on it softly. That's what we teach Calvin. Just don't react emotionally in the moment. You can always count to 10. I don't know. Anything else on that? Probably not. Next. Beware the convincing con man. The harder someone tries to convince you to trust them, the less you should. Whew.
I know this.
Do I have stories on this one?
Mine are all performance based. I think I said one time on the podcast before that, you know, for a church kid, you know that when someone gets up in front of the congregation, they start to go on and on and on before they sing their selection is going to be trash. Well, first, I want to thank the Lord in heaven. And, when I was on my way here to the church today to sing these songs, I thought about the way that the old timers sung them back when religion was brand new to the people. And I just want you to, the more they go on, the worse the musical selection you're about to indulge yourself in. And I just get up and walk out. I throw a dollar bill at the pulpit and I just walk out. Yeah, I make little paper airplanes out of dollar bills. And I'm like, here you go, Jesus. And then I go out of the back door when that happens.
Do you say that right in the middle of them talking about it?
Yeah.
That's for you, Jesus.
I say it when it gets at its highest apex. When the airplane gets at its most...
Oh, you make it into an airplane.
Yeah, a little paper airplane. I make a little paper airplane and I fly it to the Lord. I say, here you go, Jesus. And then I go out of the back door. Follow me for more tips on religion and spirituality.
So is it, instead of the pearly gates, a pearly hanger instead?
That's right. Whichever. Okay. That tracks, Amber. I like it. You dig what I'm dropping. But it's also the same thing with people speaking. When people get up and talk and they apologize first about anything, you're about to sit through a terrible, terrible lesson from someone who's underprepared. It's going to be awful. And it happens. I didn't spend a lot of time on XYZ. I saw this one guy this one time at band camp. I saw this one guy who got up and he had stick figures in his presentation. Something Dudman or Hoodman, something like that. Yeah, nice enough guy. He had a nice.
His name was John G. No, that's too obvious. His name was Jay.
Yeah, too obvious. Yeah, Jay Goodman. Nobody will find out who I'm talking about. He had a finely crafted merino wool T-shirt, though. Yes, I do remember that about him.
He seems to have forgotten his shoes.
Yeah.
This has come up with me a fair amount in business dealings. Yes. Somebody will go out of my way to say, "Oh no, man, you could trust me." Yeah, I don't. I mean, Amber knows this. I don't really do contracts. We make an agreement. Right. I send an email that just that just lays out the basics of the agreement, and that's good. And it has always worked for me. It has never not worked for me. The only time when we do contracts is when there's IP involved. I'm pretty strict on owning IP. And having that really signed off on, Len signed a contract to be part of this podcast, for example. Amber signed her life away to me years ago. Anything she does is mine, and then really doesn't. You own nothing.
I mean, it's not like my follow through is great, so it's better in your hands anyway half the time.
Yeah. Well done, John. That's awesome.
But the only
that's so perfect.
The only times when I've asked people for a contract and had my lawyers really looked over it, most of the time when somebody comes to me and they're trying to convince me why I should trust them, I just run the other way. But if I have to work with them, the only time when I actually pay the money to get a contract done up and checked is if they tell me that I should trust them. Is if they tell me I can trust them.
That's awesome.
That's the only time, because I'll call up a couple of the references and they're like, yeah, be careful.
I don't know why people want to do things that they know they can't do. It's so stressful. Why even pull that into your life? Here's somebody going along, living their life, and then you just approach them with some bullshit that you can't do. Why, bro? Just go play basketball or something. Here's what I was thinking, John. You trust me on this when I tell you I can, and I'm a 8-figure sales trainer who works with left-handed coaches, and you can trust that I'm gonna why, bro? Why'd you make all this up? Just go to the grocery store.
I always wonder where it comes from. And I feel often, a lot of the time, somebody had a bad experience early on in their journey, and it's maybe jaded them. And so there was always they think that they need to almost get ahead first. I'm of the opinion that everybody is doing the right thing in their own mind for the right reasons.
Right.
I do believe that, even on the biggest scales. I do believe that. Now, whether history proves that, whether we'll look back on that and say, yes, you were actually doing the right thing or not is a different question. And then you get into ethical dilemmas like if you need to steal a loaf of bread to feed your starving family, is it okay to steal that loaf of bread?
Right.
And
very good.
But when it comes down to this idea of like, yeah, maybe somebody trying to like get an edge.
A lot of people assume it's being done already. Like they
Yes.
have a goofy worldview where like, well, other people are doing it, so they find justification. So these are typically the people
This
that
is
have
how the game is played.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a big part of it too. I mean, we worked with somebody, Amber, like a couple years ago. It was a number of years ago now, but we should not have worked with him. When it takes 3 months to go back and forth on a contract with somebody for like a pretty entry level business opportunity, and they're like fighting over every little thing, you're like, maybe we should just not do this. And I should have recognized it because, they were the person many times that had been taken advantage of by their business partner. Their multiple business partners that they've had were questionable or did things.
All your exes are crazy, then.
That was so perfect, Amber.
I'm just saying.
Maybe
do you know
should
who
date people
Bill
who don't
Engvall
operate
is?
large machinery. What's that, Amber?
You know who Bill Engvall is? He does the "here's your sign" jokes.
No.
We need a version of that for like the personal training, like business industry. If it takes you 4 months to do a contract, probably not a good one to do. Just a whole ass series. That'd be a great like
you meet an asshole. And then you continue down the street and you meet another asshole, and then you go in the store and you see another asshole. The problem is not that you're seeing the assholes. The problem, sir, is that you are indeed the one who is the asshole. All right, let's move on. The next one is buy dates for others. Buy dates for others. One of the things that I've realized over the years is that most people never do anything for themselves. And I think that's a shame. And so I created this rule to give them an excuse to do more things for themselves. Buy movie tickets for your parents, for example. Like just randomly, just like, I don't know about you, Amber, like my parents don't do anything for themselves, like rarely. Like they don't take themselves to the movies, And so, just buy them 2 movie tickets.
That would not work in my family, but I like the sentiment.
Sure. Whatever it is. If you have a good dinner, like if you're out for a good dinner, get a gift certificate from the place before you leave. And then it forces you again to think of a friend who'd enjoy the place. And then give that friend a night out on you. Obviously, you have to be able to afford these things, but they don't cost that much money. And it's just they'll send you a picture like out and about. God, man, it's just it's such a nice thing to do.
It's a personal gift for me when anybody from Canada says those 2 words back to back in one sentence, out and about. And I want to thank you for that gift that you gave me this holiday season, John. It was everything that I thought it was going to be. And Amber, why is it so hard? Why do we have to pry old people from their homes in the South? Like, what is that? Nobody's parents want to do anything in the South. Like, they just... I've invited parents when my mother's alive. Would you like to go on a cruise? Would you like to go? Yeah, no, I'll just stay here. It's exhausting. Like,
especially in the South, because it's the fake niceness, right? That you have to kind of put on, and so like it's just exhausting to interact with people when you have to do that.
It really is. It just
cruise is exhausting though. I'm talking about like going to a movie where you don't have to speak to anybody else.
You do,
Even
though.
that, just to get them out of a front door of a home they've been sitting down in a recliner in for the last 35 years is nearly impossible. It's just, it's
Well, at
almost like
home, they've
it's
got their own snacks. They're cheaper. Their bathroom. They
right.
talk during the movie.
And they will list these things for you. They will give you a consolidated list of reasons why it's a no before you ask for it. You don't have to say why not. Don't worry about that. You just, hey, I got some tickets to you. Go to the, well, I got my Twizzlers here, and Pat Sajak might retire after this episode of Wheel of Fortune, and Alex Trebek died. Did you know that? Hope he's with Jesus, and you're like, oh God damn it, just never mind. Just stay here.
I do hope that Alex Trebek is with Jesus, though. Can we?
I hope that he is, John. And he's probably asking questions now.
Also a Canadian.
Send him an airplane run and see what you get back.
Yeah. Maybe I'll do with a $5 bill. Because Alex is
an
classy.
Andy Jefferson airplane.
right. Alex is too classy for $1.
Yeah.
I'll end up in hell. I'm sorry. Go ahead, John.
My next rule is one that I'm really passionate about. It's pretty simple. Don't lie. Do not deceive anybody ever. Do not tell white lies. Just don't. Lying degrades trust. And without trust, you have nothing. It's hard not to tell white lies sometimes. You will naturally want to do it. Sometimes you might even. But life is way better if you never lie. I'm going to keep talking in commas, Ryan. I'm done.
Okay, I'm sorry. The commas and the periods, John. Like I'm never going to get it. Like
book title, talking in the comments.
Yeah, I'm just never going to get it. So I'm going to always. That is a good book title, John. That's the third. That's the next book. My commas are periods, or my periods are commas. I don't know which one. In any case, because I grew up in such a strict environment, oh man, I was raised to be a little liar. Because I heard a guy, Brian Tracy, like sales guru habits. He said, if your children lie, who has made them afraid to tell the truth? And that actually became my mantra as a manager in corporate environments. Like, I don't want to put people in a position where they feel like the self-preservation is more important than the truth. Because for me as a kid, it was. So I grew up in a time when there was no such thing as social services. you get your ass beat at home, and I grew up in a time of corporal punishment delivered from Jesus himself. Yeah.
This is your thumb.
So I wish, right? I wish I would have complained about corporal punishment to some outside agency, only to be left at home with those same people who would then deliver more. It's just the way. My mom was born in 1936, for God's sakes. Like, it's it's how they were
better than her
raised.
Parents. That's what every generation does.
Right. She was better slightly, but I missed the generation, because the people that should have given birth to me were the people that are my brothers and sisters' age. My brother was 18 when I was born, and my sister was 13, respectively. So I should have been raised by someone born in the 1940s, late or early 50s, like maybe. But I got like a right out of Reconstruction and Jim Crow parent. So I got beat for things that I did, and it raised me to be a liar. And what broke me out of Little White Lies, John, was working in this business and working with OTA in 2020, because you can't make people feel good and help them improve their business. The two things they don't coexist. I can't say, yeah, that was a great post that you did last Thursday. I'm like, okay, it wasn't good, and here's why it wasn't good. Here's why you didn't get there. And also, and Amber probably can co-sign here, as a people pleaser who doesn't love conflict, it's so easy to become the person that spouts those little white lies. And also, I read 4 agreements, and that's one of the 4 agreements: be impeccable with your word, don't lie, et cetera, et cetera. So it's been an evolution for me, John. I'm glad you're giving this tremendous information to the kids of today, so they can learn earlier than I did. Because in 2005, I'd lie to you in a heartbeat if I felt like it was preemptively absolving me from conflict, or if I felt like it was going to hurt someone's feelings. I'd tell a lie in a second. It's a good rule, and I felt restricted at that point in my life too. Like, it's an easier way to live as a human if you just go ahead and say the shit. Just say it. People, it's always a better outcome. So I love this rule. I don't like the phone rule. I'm on my phone right now, so I didn't like that one. So I didn't say anything about it. But this is a good rule. Keep this one, John. That first one is total crap.
Good.
Toss it.
Thank you.
You're
Next
welcome,
one.
John.
It might not be your fault, but it is your responsibility.
Yes. I love this
Tell
one.
me more, Amber.
This is one of my favorites in business, and people get so butthurt about it. Oh my God.
They do.
Yeah, butthurt. Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
Like, so
people getting butthurt. Damn
do.
those people.
I know, they
Butts.
get all, it's so funny because they like don't want to take accountability for like when they get emotional, but then they complain about like their customers or clients getting emotional about shit.
Yes.
So funny.
Yes.
But I don't know how many like Reddit threads or people I've talked to, and like, oh well, I sent something in the mail and they said they didn't get it, but it's marked as delivered. So like, not my problem, like, why are you so short-sighted?
Yeah. If something happened that made somebody else upset, even if it's not your fault, even if the other person is overreacting, even if they misinterpreted what you did or said, if they're being ridiculous or their feelings are unwarranted, fix it. Next, look them in the eyes. When your kid speaks to you, put your phone down and look them in the eyes, even if it's just to tell them that you need a moment to finish what you're doing. Do this the moment you hear their voice. Next up, we're running through these now. Less good friends, more great friends. Having one great friend is worth more than 10 good ones. We are going to be talking about friendship very, very soon in depth, so I'm not going to talk about this one much more now. Just know that you have far too many friends right now, and that is why you lack intimacy. Next. Say the nice thing you're thinking. Give the compliment. Don't wait for your dumb brain to talk yourself out of saying something nice to somebody else. I remember I was at Legoland with Calvin. This is when I took him there in Florida.
Oh, that's the best.
And, after like 2 days in the Legoland hotel attached to the Legoland theme park, I needed to have something strongly alcoholic and be away from my child. And so I was doing that. And Calvin was watching one of the Lego movies for the 6th or 7th or 8th
Obviously.
or 15th time. And
Of course he was, John.
And I think it was a gin and tonic, maybe 2 of them. I think this was my second one, which is a lot for me. And I sat outside, and I was just sitting outside. It was, this was like August in Florida, so it's balls hot, right? And it was nighttime. It was like dusk, so it wasn't as stupid hot. So I was sitting outside, and there was this family that was sitting at the table next to me, and there was something about it. They were just there was just like a really sweet feeling coming off of this family, but they didn't look like they were a sweet family. I think there was 2 kids. There was a son and a daughter, and they brought out this pizza, and the mother was, I don't know, medium height, brown hair, like regular looking woman, like, pretty, not too pretty, like not made up, like just like, but the dad was like tatted up, right? Like kind of bigger guy, like bigger in every way, kind of bigger guy, and intimidating. Right? But there was just something about this makeup and how they were interacting with each other. And I was just thinking, I was like, I really want to tell them that they have a beautiful family. But he's bigger than me.
Oh man!
But I did.
Imagine.
But I did. I said, you guys have a really beautiful family, and it was just a nice moment. We chatted for 5 minutes. I don't remember about what. Why you in Legoland drinking by yourself? I don't know.
The reluctant, you too, man. You too, single man drinking at Legoland. You have a beautiful family yourself, sir.
Now that I think about it, maybe I should have given the compliment.
Yeah, all those circumstances were wrong for a human exchange, John. That was a terrible, terrible decision on your part. As I drink at Legoland, admiring your family closely, I just wanted to mention that I'm watching you closely. And your family is sexy AF. Thank you, strange man from obviously not Florida.
I noticed that your ears look like clovers. I'm wondering where that comes from.
Oh man,
I will say,
good story.
If you do that, don't take the reactions that may happen personally.
Right.
Some people are not accustomed to being complimented,
Yes.
and so sometimes their face does not portray how they feel. So don't take it personally. So do it because it makes you feel good and because it's a nice thing. Don't expect any type of reaction, just to protect yourself. So I've definitely had a few like what the fuck kind of faces when I do that.
Yeah.
But it's just because people aren't used to being complimented by random people.
And the same thing, like I've got another one later on. I'll say it right now because I think it fits with what you're saying. Let me find it exactly. Yeah, if you lock eyes, smile.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like sometimes they'll think you're weird. Most of the time they'll smile back. But it's exactly that. Like if if somebody's walking towards you on the street and you're walking, the other way, if you lock eyes with them, just like give a little smile, like head nod or something. It's never something that I regret doing, but oftentimes the other person just won't know what to do with it.
Right.
And maybe that's just living in places like where I'm living right now in Mexico, where everybody just waves to everybody, or says hello. But so I'm more used to it. Toronto, it's not the case, but it's still nice to do. And I don't know. A lot of these are just like little things. Okay,
it short circuits their brain, John. It's like rubbing a tiger shark on the nose. And you see those diving videos, and the shark just gets weird when they gently tickle his nose. It doesn't know what the fuck to do, so it just swims off.
Wait, he's
like, he got my nose.
I put a finger up the nostril. Is that not Are you supposed to tickle the nose?
Oh man!
Next time I'm inappropriately approached, I'll just do that. I'll tickle the nose and see what happens.
Yeah.
See how that works out for me.
I just fish hook the nose.
Never mind.
Good example though, Ren. You're on your game today.
I take it back.
On your game today. Glad we all made it to this recording, people. All right. Never resist a generous impulse. I like this one a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Do the nice thing for the person if you feel like doing the nice thing for the person, even if you don't know the person. So the story that I have for this one is that we had huge flooding in Toronto. This was this past summer. And there were power outages everywhere. So the power was out at my house. The power was out at my house for like 30 hours. And I went to the library to work. For some reason, they were open. Maybe they had a backup generator. I don't really know. But all of the rest of the block, like the coffee shops and stuff like that, were not open. They didn't have power yet. So I arrived at the library, and outside there was another woman. She asked me if the library was open. I said that it was, but I was going to go get a coffee and come back. And she said that she wanted a coffee too, but everything was closed. So I just said, I'm coming back. I'll let you know what's open. And then I left. And I found a coffee shop about 10 minutes away. Like I guess the power grid, part of it was on, part of it wasn't. So I found a shop about 10 minutes away, and I bought 2 coffees. I bought one for her. I didn't tell her I was buying one for her, right? I just bought 2 coffees. I bought one for her, thinking that I'd find her back at the library because she told me she was going into the library. The library's not that big. And when I got back to the library, I did like a whole loop around the first and second floor, and I didn't see her. And so I just sat down to her right, at a table that I found, and I had both coffees on my table. I was drinking one, I had the other coffee on my table, and I had, like the sugar and whatever outside of it. And then these 2 nannies sat down. They were taking care of some kids that they brought to the library. So these 2 nannies sat down. And one part of my brain thought that it'd be nice to offer them the extra coffee. But the other part of my brain worried that they think that I was weird or was trying to poison them or something. And then I realized that you can't control what others think. You can only control what you do and the intentions behind what you do. And so I said, excuse me, and I took off my headphones, and then I just said, I bought a coffee for somebody, but they don't hear. Would either of you like it? Yes, I love coffee. Thank you so much, one of them said, and she took the coffee. And then she drank the coffee, and when she left, she smiled and she said, thank you. And that made me feel good. It's the end of the story.
I recently brought cookies to someone that moved onto the street because they're new. Because when I first moved into a house, my first house when I was younger, I was really disappointed that it was not like Desperate Housewives where people would like bring you food when you move into a neighborhood, and that's always bothered me.
People don't do that, hey?
No, and it really upsets me. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna go say hi, and I like wrote my phone number down and like our address because I saw she had kids and whatever. And I dropped off the cookies. She didn't speak a word of English. She just gave me this look of, why is this random white woman bringing me cookies and a phone number? Didn't say a word other than okay, and like closed the door. But really? The intention was there. So again, things don't always work out like you want, but it was still the right thing to do in my book. But like, you have to watch your, expectations.
But you never know what's going on. I mean, maybe they just didn't know what to do with it. Maybe they thought that you were poisoning them. Maybe they're just like allergic to something in the cookies, and they actually were having an anaphylactic response. And maybe you killed them. Have you seen them since? You don't actually know. But when we moved in, we had a similar experience. So we gained possession of our house in, I think it was December, but we didn't move in until February because we gained possession when we were in Mexico. And so we got back and I felt really bad. There was like this really sweet handwritten card from our neighbors across the street, welcoming us to the neighborhood, talking about how much they're looking forward to meeting us, and their kids are looking forward to meeting our kids, with their phone number to get together. And they were just ignored for like 3 months.
Left them on red.
Oops.
Damn, John. It's rough, buddy.
So I don't know.
Almost as bad as day drinking at Legoland.
It was dusk drinking.
Sure it was, John.
It was dusk drinking. Next up, keep the special things special. Restaurants, television, Coca-Cola, social media, air travel. There's a lot of everyday magic in our world that ceases to be special if you make it an expected everyday occurrence. Something as simple as, instead of spending $20 on fast food, make your lunch. Then occasionally splurge on an $80 special dinner. You'll enjoy it more, and in total, it will cost you less. Mindless television liquefies your brain. Same with social media, but good TV is wonderful when you're mindful about what you watch, and social media can be a wonderful way to meet new and interesting people you wouldn't otherwise cross paths with. This is where I quote the comedian Louis C.K. Everything is amazing right now and nobody's happy. Flying is the worst because people come back from flights and they tell you a horror story. They're like, it was the worst day of my life. First of all, we didn't board for 20 minutes. And then we get on the plane and they made us sit there on the runway. Oh, really? What happened next? Did you fly through the air incredibly like a bird? Did you partake in the miracle of human flight, you non-contributing zero?
Harsh and appropriate.
You're flying. It's amazing. Everybody on every plane should just constantly be going, oh my God, wow, you're flying. You're sitting in a chair in the sky.
Oh, man. I've just become unapologetic about the window and the window seat because my brain tracks to, I want to please everyone on this airplane if I can. I would sit there and act like I wasn't itching to raise that damn window shade so I could look out, so that I could take pictures out of the tiny window hole, so I could film things and overlay them with quotes and text. Like, that's my jam. And I've just, something about 50, I think, but I've just recently become very unapologetic about respecting wonder. Right, because we just don't respect wonder.
You told me that story when you were sitting next to a woman and her newborn on the plane. and you opened the window really, really high because you were taking pictures, respecting the wonder. And the woman said, "Excuse me, my child needs to sleep. Would you mind closing the window?" And you said, "Damn you, woman. We are sitting in a chair in the sky."
That's exactly what happened. I was like, first, tell me how much your child paid for a damn ticket. All right. Oh, I guess you should shut your damn mouth then. That's what I said. That was the exchange. And then I rang the bell and had the stewardess remove her from the plane.
Yeah.
Flight attendant, can you remove this asshole beside me, please? Thank you. Here's $100. Then I flew $1 bill into the cockpit for the captain. And I was like, "Here you go, Jesus." That's exactly what happened.
Oh my God.
Fucking kids.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm gonna get some emails next week.
Mm-hmm. But such a good time to start like looking stuff up. Like that's how I learn so much random shit. Is like having those moments where I have to wait, and then I look kind of like where I am. I'm like, okay, well, how does a plane work? Like, how does that work? So it's like an opportunity to learn more, and so I don't get frustrated when I have to wait. I'm like, okay, well, what? Let me just figure out some stuff. And I learned so many cool things that way.
For a short life, for knowledge of a short life. We're the only mammals that get that information up front. For knowledge of a short life, it's amazing how quickly we dump wonder. Like, you get about 14, 15 years, dump that shit. I don't care. Never done this and I don't care about it. It's blah, blah, blah. It's no fun. Like, we dump wonder remarkably fast as humans. Because you never learn everything. Especially you might feel like you know everything at 14, but there's just so many things that are new, unique experiences, and babies savor them. I would say up until elementary school age, maybe past that, maybe preteen, but that human knows how to savor them. Right. And it's not like we run out of new experiences, far from it, but for some reason we just decide that we're too jaded or worldly to like anything that's new. Like it's like society rewards you for being unimpressed.
So I get into this a lot in the next book. And what we're going over here is really like first drafts. And even since, the material that you guys have heard on the podcast, like it has been edited significantly since then, which is the process. All right. This is kind of how book writing goes. It's like you collect all the research and it's like, I have a lot to say about this. This is going to be really, really fun. This is going to be interesting. I'm excited to write this. And then you write the first draft and you're like, this sucks. I suck.
Nope.
I'm a failure. I hate myself. And then you get into the second draft and you're like, it's not half bad. And then you get into the third draft and you're like, how the hell did I do that? This is awesome. It's like that's kind of the process. And so what you guys have really been hearing has been the first draft. Ask my wife how much happier I am editing than I am writing.
Right.
It's like right now I'm working on the friendship chapter and, woke up at 5 the last couple mornings and did a couple hours on them. And it's just funny. She wakes up and I'll go wake her up or something after I've made breakfast. Give her a kiss, say good morning. She's like, "Oh, so how was it this morning?" I was like, "Oh, I suck." How are you, sweetheart?
It's objectively bad.
Yes.
By every measure that you can measure writing, right. I was bad this morning.
But now I've figured out that I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I know I'm going to be able to put this together. Like I'm confident enough in myself that I'm going to be able to do that. But for the time being, I feel like I'm a waste of a human.
Right.
So,
oh man.
With that, thank you for listening to the Obvious Choice podcast. As I said, I've been up since 5 a.m. And this is the third podcast recording of the day for me, and I have one more in 30 minutes. And so I'm going to go lie down and take a little nap. So keep it classy.